Check out the Ozcat right away. Welcome to Ozcat. Welcome to Ozcat. Welcome to Ozcat. Welcome to Ozcat.
Ozcat Radio, in the V. OzcatRadio.com, on the World Wide Web.
Out in the streets, they call it Ozcat.
Ozcat Radio, 89.5 FM KZCT Vallejo. I have, as promised, Denny Tedescho on the phone with me. Denny, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm great. You sound great. Now, we're actually talking to you live from New York, right?
No, actually, in the middle of the country, Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, there you go. Same thing.
I'm here to speak and talk about the Wrecking Crew and the film festival here.
The Wrecking Crew, we are so fortunate to be on the circuit. We're going to be, when is it going to be shown here in Vallejo?
We are in Vallejo on November 3rd, and that is that Thursday, if I'm correct. And we're at the
Empress Theatre. It's such a beautiful theater. It is like an art.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It looks gorgeous.
And we have we have a huge entertainment community here in Vallejo. A lot of folks here actually are like, sons and daughters of folks who performed in so many bands over the years. The Wrecking Crew, that's why I think this movie is of such interest to our community. You want to give them a rundown, basic?
Sure, yeah. Basically, the Wrecking Crew is the story of the session musicians in Los Angeles in the 60s and 70s who did all the recordings for like the Beach Boys. They were Phil Spector's Wall of Sound. They recorded for the Byrds, Mamas and Papas, Fifth Dimension, Sam Cooke, Sinatra, Janet. Anybody that was recording in Los Angeles, 90% I would say of the hits, if not maybe even higher, came with some of these guys involved. Because in those days, the record companies didn't trust the groups to knock out records, so they had session musicians do it. And the reason supposedly they got the name Wrecking Crew is the older guys were upset about these rock and roll sessions being done, and they said, these guys are going to ruin the business. They're going to wreck the business doing this rock and roll stuff. And my dad was one of the players. He was a guitar player, Denny Tedescho. And Hal Blaine was involved, and Earl Palmer, and all these great session players, Glenn Campbell, Leon Russell. These were all session players at the time that were young Turks who were willing to play rock and roll.
Wow.
So that's what they were doing.
Did you, were you a kid at the time when some of this was going on, or?
I'm now 51, so I was born in 61, and my dad's heyday was really the mid-60s in records. And so I knew Dad went to work like any other dad. I just didn't realize how different it was. He just, instead of a hammer and wrench and a screwdriver in the trunk, he had guitars and a banjo and a mandolin and an amplifier, and that's how he went to work. And I didn't realize until the 70s the impact that he and his friends actually made in music, American music. And I never saw my dad play guitar until the 70s. His dad never brought a guitar home. I mean, he had guitars home, but he never picked up one.
Because it sounds like he worked his butt off.
Yeah, they worked, 12, 14 hours a day. He'd leave in the morning, 8 in the morning, he'd be at Universal Studios or somewhere, and then he'd maybe do 3 more sessions during the day around Hollywood, maybe even a nighttime session late with the Beach Boys or someone later. So if you were coming home, that's the last thing he wanted to do was pick up a guitar. It was his break. So, he'd watch football and gamble and eat nonsense, smoke and drink cigarettes, or drink cigarettes and eat cigarettes, or whatever. You know what I mean?
I got your drift. Some of the songs are so notable that are listed here, from Be My Baby to California Girls, Strangers in the Night to Mrs. Robinson, You've Lost That Love and Feeling to Up, Up and Away. One of the things that it talks about in your press release is the expense of creating the soundtrack and getting all the proper licensing for this music. This is huge music.
Yeah, and that obviously one of the reasons why we haven't been able to release it publicly yet, because we've had to pay off the licensing. And what happened was, when I started it, I had a nice 14-minute piece after my father passed. By the way, I started this because my father he had cancer, and he was about to pass away in '96. So I quickly started filming him, filming his friends, and unfortunately he never got to see any of it. But I'm lucky to have him in it, and we cut a nice 14-minute piece together, and everybody was having a good old time, saying, this is great, love it. But no one would ever come up with the money because they kept saying, it's the music. You'll never be able to get all the music publishers and labels together. I have over 100 songs in it, and
Wow.
you know all of them. And I said, well, you have to show the music. And someone would come up with an idea, why don't you just cut it down to 20? I said, you can't.
It doesn't show the vastness of their...
You could show Motown. You could do 5 songs of Motown, instantly you know it's Motown. But you got to show the diversity and the quantity of what this factory in Los Angeles was putting out. And I did lovingly this factory because they were unbelievable musicians. But they could change on the dime. They could, what does Sinatra, the Chipmunks, Mamas and Papas, Phil Spector's Wall of Sound, and Green Acres have in common? All the same people.
Well, it makes you realize too that people bands did not. We were younger, and we all said, "Why doesn't this recording, when they perform live, sound like it does on the recording?" Well, that's one of the.
And what the interesting thing is, people always, well, how did they do it in their live sessions? I said, the difference is when we all go to concerts, whenever it was then or now, it's in and out of our brain. Most of the time, it's never been recorded. So, if you never get the best sound anyways. It's always going to be something right or wrong.
Right.
And also the guys, the bands, they didn't have to play those songs because they practiced for a few weeks. So it wasn't like they couldn't do it in the studio. It just might have taken them a long time to do those recordings.
Get that perfection.
So these guys, the Wrecking Crew, these extra musicians could go in, knock out 3 or 4 songs in 3 hours. That's what they were allowed to do.
I'm sure saving a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was the thing is these record labels, don't forget the other point is, in the early 60s, we didn't have multi-tracking. So, as Glenn Campbell said in my interview, he said, I was working with Michael Jordan, he says, but everybody in the room was a Michael Jordan because they could go in, look at the music, read it, or whatever they had to do, and get it out. And all of us worked together as a group. So if one person was messing up, let's say the bass or the guitar or someone, you had to redo everything. You couldn't have a mess up. So they were, you had to be very critical of who was in that session.
There's something to be said for that, isn't there? That's sort of lost in some of this multi-track recording, some of this digital recording where artists are just laying down tracks and they haven't really communicated so much maybe with the other musicians or... And
that's the biggest complaint that every musician of today has, young and old before, because what happened was they were, even though they were knocking this stuff out, they might have been reading it, maybe not dot to dot. Sometimes there was no real music given. But they were influencing each other. When someone's maybe picked up bass or doing something different, someone else plays off it. And that's what's missing now. If you lay down those drum tracks, the bass player comes in or whoever comes in, everybody's got to follow suit. So there is none of that, and no one has, hey, what do you think of this?
And that's really that's the joy. I mean, for the musicians I know, that's when they really... For all the hard, I mean, it's not an easy road being a musician, whether you're, a session player or you're on tour or you're in your own rig or whatever. It's a lot. It's not as glamorous as it looks. But I think when it comes together, that's the payoff for these guys.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you're a painter, you're working alone. There's very few musicians, other than maybe a classical pianist or he's playing by himself or a classical guitarist, that's all he does. But usually music is played with multi-instruments, and it's a communal thing. You do it, you share, and you come together. Whether it's 2 people, 5 people, or 100 people, musicians, you come together, and that's what these guys did every day of their lives, 3 or 4 times a day.
Did they get the credit that was their due?
They might not have gotten album credits in the time. And some of the time was just not because they were shafted, because they didn't do it at the time, but also there was those times when you don't want the Beach Boys having the credits of all these guys.
Right.
Hal Blaine or my father or Carole these, because you want to think Beach Boys played Pet Sound albums. They didn't play on the Pet Sound album. It was, they sang,
Wow.
but, they didn't play. So that was, you didn't want that. And these are the same guys that played on the Monkees, and they were the same guys that played on Mamas and Papas. And so it would have been kind of weird. Association was the only group that I heard that said, we don't want their names on it.
Wow.
We want them to know that we play, they don't want them to know that session players were playing for them on that album.
Wow.
But that's the only time that now, and no one cares.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure you heard or saw the movie. I can't remember what it's called, The Heartbeat of Motown, about the Funk Brothers.
Yeah, Danny and Shadows.
Very compelling film. And one of the saddest scenes was one of the guys was telling the filmmaker that he came, I guess they'd come into he said he went into a deli or a little restaurant, and one of the big Motown songs was playing on the stereo, and he said, that's me playing bass in that. And they didn't really believe him,
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, here's the story, the difference between these two stories, I mean, it's a lot of it coincides with each other. And that came out halfway through my journey. I was like, oh my God, they did the same thing, but it wasn't. It's a different city.
I was going to say, I think it's a common enough story anyway of the...
Yeah, unfortunately enough, it was very successful, and it should be. It was a great film. The only difference is these guys, my father and these guys, it was all covered on union contracts. They weren't cash dates. So what happened was they did get credit, and they still get paid when the song is put into, let's say, a movie or it's played in a commercial.
That's
my father
cool.
or my mother, really, because my father's passed. My mother will still get a reuse check, they call it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's great because you know what? They're using it for commercial. It was never intended for that. They should be paid for that. That's been very fortunate. It's really not it's a really fun, uplifting film, and because these guys are funny as hell, and the music is great. The movie 50% of it, like just the music, but it's an uplifting story. It's about not just the music. It's about taking care of your family, making a living, doing something you love to do, and enjoying it.
Do you think that the young people in our audience would enjoy a film like this?
It's funny because you would think how would they know? You know what? What's interesting now is I've seen this film around the world now. I've seen it in Glasgow. I've seen it in London. Chuck Beck came in London. That was cool. And I've seen it in Israel and Barcelona. And what's amazing is watching this film go out, because we always talk about the British invasion. Well, guess what? We were part of an American invasion. No one talks about that.
A West Coast invasion.
Our music went everywhere for years. Still does.
What were some of the biggest tracks that your father played on?
Oh, God.
Or your favorites, maybe. What about your favorites?
My favorite, it's funny, because if I was for someone to go instantly, and it's more kitsch than anything, would be the Batman theme on the TV show.
Oh, really?
That's just...
Na 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 na. That one?
Yeah. So, I mean, that to me is great.
That was probably the coolest thing, right?
But, maybe his favorite where it's sentimental to me is when you hear the comeback special of Elvis and he's doing Memories, and it's that classical guitar up front that starts it, and then Elvis comes in. So that's one of my favorite songs.
And that is literally your father.
Yeah. But, you talked about younger audience. Where the younger audiences are getting into it, musicians or not, we forget they know the music, because some of them said, you know what, my parents played this music
right
when I was growing up. Or even worse, because my grandparents played this music growing up. But it's amazing, and it's not. Again, you don't have to know. It's more. It's what I'm saying, because it's my film. This music touched everybody, and someone had it perfect. They said, when you watch a film like this and you hear the music, it's a bookmark in your life.
Yes.
When you hear that song, instantly, like this woman today in Wichita, Tallgrass Film Festival said, I remember in the 70s 70s growing up, and I remember the Partridge Family album. And she said, that is exactly what I remember, and it's true.
I remember that
I'll
well.
do that to you.
We were in the era of sort of the ensemble cast, musical families, the Partridge Family, the Monkees.
The Franco family, don't forget the DeFranco family.
The DeFranco family.
I can't remember the song, but it'll come back to me and haunt me today.
Now, and all this music is, of course, in the film for people to catch up on.
Basically, when people said there's so much music, I ended up just making this film. I crossed that line and said, if I don't make this film now, I shot hundreds of hours and I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had no film. I basically went forward and just said, that's it, let's make a film, cut it, and my editor cut a great film, and we won a lot of awards, won festivals everywhere, got reviews from Elvis Costello to Peter Frampton.
I saw that.
Times.
That is quite a nice endorsement. Elvis Costello, one of our
endorsements is the best is when I find out that they saw it on their own.
We actually were.
Elvis Costello goes to a movie theater in public and sees it and sends me a note. That's cool.
We were actually playing his wife's new album, Diana Krall's new album, Ragtime Doll. It's great.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Denny, how did we end up getting so lucky to be, here in little old Vallejo, California?
Well, Vallejo is very interesting because my sister lives in Benicia, California. And she wanted to we're having these fundraising screens all around the country and around the world if it's possible. Until I pay these labels and everybody off, I can't release this on DVD or TV so we just basically have fundraisers around the country showing the film,
tell the story.
People donate, people buy tickets or whatever. And I did it at Benicia High School. We raised a lot of money for Benicia High School for the cheerleaders. There was such a huge response. And then Martinez, Alhambra High School, I'm there actually on the 27th, and I'm playing for theirs. And then my sister said, we got to do it in Vallejo. And they won in Vallejo. I said, all right. So we said, let's do it the next weekend. So I'm coming back on Vallejo on the 3rd. And I know, friends up there, I hope they come out. And it's great. I keep going to these cities and meeting new people and seeing old friends.
Well, Vallejo, we're really trying to promote the downtown Ozcat Radio. We just moved down here to the beautiful Atrium of the Arts. We're just about a block from the Empress Theatre. And the folks have really been trying to do events and things that bring people to the downtown to celebrate our arts and entertainment district down here. So, folks, this stuff like this is not going to come to town all the time. This is a world-class movie. When you see it hitting the big theaters and you start hearing people about it, you can say, "Oh, I saw that at the Empress," for the pre-screening.
I helped get it here.
Yes.
I helped get it out because everybody that's seen this film they've helped in so many ways. It went viral.
I love it.
We have a 30,000 fan base now between website and the Facebook thing.
And I imagine you've literally, person by person, it sounds like you guys are really getting this money.
I hate to say it, I'm a carniac on the road now.
I love
doing this. I wish I could make money at it.
Well, and part of the thing is that people are going to get a Q&A with you at the beginning or the end of the film.
At the end.
At the end,
I like to say I give good Q&A. Okay. I don't just give the nickel Q and the dime, and I just go all out.
You're getting the full thing. You get to talk to the director himself, the son of one of the featured artists of the Wrecking Crew, the band who I guess they wrecked mainstream music and it just went full rock and roll. And
tell them to go to the website. You see the trailer, but see the outtakes. Those are the horrible things you have to take out of films. Okay, so which are actually probably good. It's just because I couldn't have a 5-hour film.
Oh, it must be so hard editing down the footage.
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, and I'm the people that are in it right now. I got Cher's in it, Brian Wilson's in it, Herb Alpert's in it. Nancy Sinatra's in it. Roger McGuinn of the Byrds is in it. No one knew that the first Mr. Tambourine Man, Terry Melcher, was the him out to a producer, and when he got the job to produce the Birds' first single, he said, "Fine, but I got to have session musicians." And they went, "I don't know," they all complained. So I used Roger McGuinn. He could sing and play guitar, and they got Hal Blaine, Leon Russell, Larry Metzel, and Bill Pittman, and Jerry Cole on guitars, and they did the Birds' first song. And as Roger McGuinn said, he said, "Listen, we did the A side and the B side of Mr. Tambourine Man in 3 hours."
Wow.
It was a #1 hit. But when we did Turn, 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 which is a #1 hit, it took us 77 takes with the band.
What was the difference?
That's #1 hit, but that's what it took. You had to have a #1 hit to get another chance.
Wow.
So that's why these guys, these labels were able, that's why these musicians were needed. You couldn't go back. You didn't have overdubs in those days.
Well, we keep telling our audience, and especially we have a lot of young artists, young singer-songwriters, young rappers, and we always tell them to learn to play an instrument. In addition to everything else you do, learn to play the guitar, learn to play the piano. And I think people might be inspired by checking out this movie.
It is. And what's funny is watching people go, "I used to play bass in high school, now I'm picking it up again." Or I'm playing guitar.
Are. A lot of old...
I'm starting to take lessons again, first time in 40 years, and I never played guitar.
It's sort of the cool recession thing to do. A lot of people they're sort of their square job sort of or situation has changed, and they're like, well, I got time in my hands, and now I can do. I know quite a few folks who have taken up actual gigs now. They're actually gigging.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you said that. One of my producers, Mr. Linden, who is in the Bay Area, Mitchell he didn't take bass until he was 50, I think. And now he's doing, local jazz gigs, playing stand-up bass with his friends. It's like, oh my God, there's still hope for me. Because I still don't know the third chord on a guitar. So I'm hoping if I just sit down and practice, and I'm not looking to be a professional. I just want to be able to get through one song.
Well, you didn't end up becoming a musician like your dad, but you became a filmmaker, so you still got involved in the arts.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy being on, sharing stories with people, and I enjoy watching, music come alive, and so I'm in a very good position to be in both.
Do you think about him a lot when you? I mean, obviously making this film, but do you feel his?
All the time, people say, "Was it hard to go back when he died?" Because he died a year later after I started filming. And he says, "Was it hard for you to go back to editing?" I said, "Actually, no, because if I'm going to play, what do you call it, weekend, or what do you call it, the couch therapist or amateur therapist, you might say I'm keeping this thing alive 16 years when I'll lose them. But I don't think
what's wrong with that?
It's a financial thing. But he's never left me. Everything he taught me, it might not have been music. It was something he taught me and his fellow musicians with common sense. And that is what got me here to this point today of being able to understand how to deal with people in business, how to deal with certain situations that arise. And that's why he was such a successful musician. He was an unbelievable guitar player, but you know what? There's always someone better than you out there. It's not that. It's how you treat every
Isn't that the truth?
you make.
I think I've seen if you stick around in music a lot, you see a lot of the hot shots and maybe some of the guys with the best moves and the best slaps. But if they don't play well with others, they're not going to go. You're not going to go far. And how many
people we all know in your audience? Everybody's thinking about it right now. God, that guy's such a jerk, or she's such a jerk to work with.
Right.
In those situations, they all pretty much got along, because you know what? If you didn't get along with someone, you're not going to recommend them. And you have to be cool about things, and you have to play well together. And not just musically. You've got to be good to each other.
How many musicians over the years comprised, quote unquote, the Wrecking Crew?
Well, that's such a loose. I mean, that's the other thing that's come up is it's such a loose term.
Right.
There's people some people said, you know what? I never heard the name Wrecking Crew when we were there, and I'll agree to that. Even in the film, you'll see I make a little joke of it because Hal Blaine, was the one that really about, you know what, I'd say 20, 25 people were really doing the rock and roll stuff in the early 60s. But it didn't mean that they weren't unbelievable. They weren't working all the time. They might have been in a different market.
Well,
You know,
and
my father wasn't doing the jazz world in the early 60s. He was strictly doing the rock and roll stuff. And then he started going into the film and TV stuff. And, you know, that's where everybody had a different part of their lives where they, you know, did different things. So it was, you know, 25 points. But now it's like the point where everybody says in print, I was part of the Wrecking Crew, or the Wrecking Crew played on my albums. And it's so funny. It's like when Jeopardy, that was the highlight of this last 12 to 16 years, when Jeopardy had not just a question, but a category called Wrecking Crew. And it was, I went, oh my God, we have created this monster.
wow.
You know,
And was it actually related to the Wrecking Crew, songs from the Wrecking Crew? Oh, Denny? I think we just might have lost our interview. That was Denny Tedescho. Thank you so much. Talking about the film, The Wrecking Crew. It is going to be shown here at the Empress Theatre on the 3rd of November. We are going to have more information about that, but I highly would say that for those of you interested in music, and I know that's pretty much everybody out there, because if you're listening to Ozcat, you are a music lover. What a great film to be, one, to be able to check out at all, and two, to be in on the ground level here at this early fundraising stage for the film, and able to have a screening like this. Big ups to Denny, and big ups to the Empress. You're listening to Ozcat Radio 89.5 FM KZCT Vallejo. Back with more.
Welcome to Dial a Movie, your one-stop guide to what's playing. For the Hollywood blockbuster, Anything But Sunshine, press 1. For the romantic comedy, Anything But Sunshine, press 2. And for Anything But Sunshine...
You expect options everywhere else in life. Are you getting them when it comes to your medical treatment? Explore all your options and talk with your doctor about what's right for you. Knowing your options is the best option. Learn more at ahrq.gov. That's ahrq.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Every day the sun will shine. Take me to another place in my life where everything is beautiful and no wants and needs, no sun and breeze could rule our soul. I wish every day sunshine. How I wish every day sunshine. If we can fly away on wings to a place where all could be true, if the sky were blue, the sky so blue, and love was true, as me and you, how I wish every day sunshine. I wish every day sunshine.
Everyday sunshine. We've got that in droves today, Vallejo, California. It is beautiful out, if you didn't know. I want to thank my guest, Denny Tedescho, one more time. The film is The Wrecking Crew. You can catch it at the Empress Theatre November 3rd. And really major film debut here that we're getting a great chance to check out right here in Vallejo, California. Also, Denny was kind enough to offer, we are going to have 10 pairs of tickets to give, or 5 pairs of tickets to give away. We're going to have some trivia questions and some fun this week. So hopefully you guys will be winning some tickets to go see that wonderful film at the Empress Theatre. And be sure to, go to your local events all over town. There's so many great things to do here in Vallejo, California. When events leave, we have no excuses for having them not come back, but that we didn't go and enjoy them ourselves. So hopefully you guys are having a happy Friday out there. It is October 19th. Lots of big things coming up this weekend. We'll do a little bit more calendaring stuff. Here's one. McCune lecture at the library, at the JFK Library this weekend, Sunday the 21st at 2 p.m. The lecture is going to be William Porter on traditional landscape photography. What a great opportunity to get to check out the beautiful McCune room at your local JFK Library. Now and I also do want to say DJ Fat Cat will be back in this time period next week with the 80s rock show. So I thought I'd definitely get a little 80s in. Thank you, Fat Cat, for indulging us with our little bit of Diana Krall. We're going to get into some 80s performers. Here's one of my favorites. This is Howard Jones. This is him performing more recently live. This is Live Your Life in One Day. Don't do it.
Life so seriously, play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. The grass is never greener over there. It's time will wear away the storm. Oh, gets the red street ball. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't try to live your life for one day. Now don't go speed your time away. The old man said to me, said you can change the world single-handedly. Raise the glass, enjoy the scenery. Tell the water is champagne into my glass again and again. While the wolves are gathering around your door, it's time will wear away the storm. Yeah, that's really good, that's good. I'm sure I could have sworn there was a big harmony going on the first time. Time will wear away the storm. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's so much better than last time. It's the hereditary ball. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Now don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't go speed your time away. Don't try to live your life for one day. Now don't go speed your time away. la la. Wow. That's good, that's good. I'm trying to live my life for one day. I've been tough more than against you. I know the fools are gathering round my door. I'm trying to live my life for one day now. Said, don't always take life so seriously. Play the flute and dance and sing your song. Try and enjoy the here and now. The future will take care of itself somehow. The grass is never greener over there. It's time to wear away the storm. Oh, against the ready tree bone. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't try to live your life for one day now. Don't try to live your life for one day. Don't try to live your life for one day now. Life for one day now. Life for one day. Life for one day now. Life for one day. Nice work. Well, good evening. The streets here are empty. All the people went home. And I was just wondering if you're alone. So how you been lately? I hear you're a little down. So do you think maybe I could come around? 'Cause I could be someone you need. Keep you from burning in hot summer sun. Roll you in clover, a coat for your shoulder. Someone you need. We had coffee on 3rd Street and talked for a time. I still have your letter, I know every line. But I hope this ain't coming from way out of the blue. 'Cause I got to thinking and I thought of you. 'Cause I could be someone you need. Wrap you in blankets on dark winter nights. Be honest confidant, pay the right compliment. I could be someone you need. Someone there when the world isn't fair, or it's all just too good to be true. Someone to care for you as you were there to you when the moment comes. You need to fly, fly. 'cause I could be someone you need. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. 1, 2, 3.
You're listening to Ozcat Radio, 89.5 FM, KZCT, Vallejo.
Read it out. I can hear you now. You think reality shut you down, and you're locked away where you can't get out. Spent a while on your back, but you know what it means to me, babe. In the course of a history, hey, it all makes sense to me somehow. And it's not what it used to be, no. We're suddenly free to let go of what's happening now. You will love this one. You will love this one. 'Cause if we create something magical, honey, there are times that come. These are times that come only once in your life, or twice like mine. Do you wish to love? Can you give enough? Use your saving graces in the heavy light till the sky falls down. He can pray all he likes, but you know what it means to me, babe. In the course of a history, hey, it all makes sense to me somehow. It's a course in philosophy, yeah. What is life? Is it just a dream? No, a perfect mystery, but somehow I know you will love this one. You will love this one. As if we create something magical, honey. There are times that come. These are times that come only once in your life, or twice if you're lucky. The trains are close around another time. You risk it out, you take the fall for what you like. Sure enough, before your love is taken flight, you make a revelation. You will love this one. You will love this one. You will love this one. Dream in my head, something magical, honey. There are times that come. These are times that come only once in your life, or twice if you're lucky. You and me got the whole day off. Take a trip to Vincent Van Gogh, but the line went halfway round the block. And we're looking for a place to rest. Every seat in every bar was set, so we turned back to the Grand Hotel. And the rain came hard, a million people on a protest march. Every choice, every path was mistaken. You and me got the whole thing sussed. Great men are shadowing us, while conspiracies turn to dust. You
hear the sound of cathedral bells, cash ringing at the gates of hell, and fairground hooligans push and swell. They're the darkest days of a free man, lying in the streets of Amsterdam. Nearly fell underneath the tram, but I picked myself up. Every temptation and device, all the diamonds and the spice, I would give anything for the sight of an honest man. Hey. Swimming emptiness, I was looking at a hotel guest. He blew me a big sarcastic kiss. And the Lord walked in with a monocle and lips so thin. Saw the barman wink as he poured his brandy. Well, the darkest days of a free man, lying in the streets of Amsterdam. Nearly fell underneath the tram, but I picked myself up. Every temptation up in lights, all the diamonds and the spice, could take profit from